novel, deep, and insightful ideas of intellect that fuel thought, conversation, and action of the minds of our audience. We believe in fostering ideas that are both highly relevant and radically different to enrich the minds of our audiences. Joining us on this platform from across the country and the world, we strive to bring you the most accomplished and inspiring speakers that ignite invaluable knowledge sparks to spread the light of continuous learning and development among educators, teachers, administrators, students, and parents. RRIS is delighted to host you on this delightful journey by facilitating this platform as a way of giving back to the community and stakeholders that keep us motivated.
Good
And
afternoon,
of all
ma'am.
things, we expect
Good afternoon.
just one thing from you:
Good afternoon,
to
ma'am.
share this light of knowledge with your friends,
Good afternoon, ma'am.
family, peers,
Namaste,
Good
good
afternoon,
and
ma'am.
afternoon,
network.
and
We are
welcome to
inviting
everyone.
to register for these sessions or
Good
subscribe
afternoon,
to our
ma'am.
YouTube
Good
channel,
afternoon.
Round.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Namaste
Good, a-
and
good
welcome.
afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. My pranams to today's speaker, my guru, my mentor, Vijayam ma'am. A very warm welcome to all the friends of education who have joined us from all across the country. It is a pleasure to have you all at the 29th Aadharshila Talks. Today's talk is going to be extremely relevant to each one of you because it is from a teacher, it is from a principal who has lived it all and who is always so generous to share with us all how her journey has been so outstanding. I feel so privileged that ma'am has accepted our invitation to be here at the Aadharshila Talks platform. So once again, a big thank you to ma'am and pranams to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. How are you doing, ma'am?
Absolutely fine, Jaya. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Seeing you, it has made all the difference. I am just
Wow.
absolutely feeling fantastic. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So friends, before I hand over to ma'am or before I start conversing with ma'am, I need to present a very brief introduction of ma'am. I know most of us already know her, but it is again a pleasure to introduce her to the audience. So friends, it is said success is no accident. It is hard work. It is perseverance. It's learning, studying, sacrificing, and most of all, love of what you are doing or learning to do. Today's speaker, Miss Vijayam, is an epitome of all these qualities that are expected to be carried by a learner and a leader. Miss Vijayam Kartha, an educator, a founder trustee, ex-principal of Kerala Public Schools. Mrs. Vijayam is a highly experienced educator with 3 decades of experience in transforming public and private schools with a focus on social conscience and character development. She has won several individual and organizational awards for her work in education, especially for her efforts towards the lesser privileged sections of the society. The President's Award for Teachers presented by Ministry of Human Resource Development, the Best Green School Chain, Sarvothan Acharya Award are just a few of them. You would really have to believe that it is a long list of accolades and achievements which ma'am richly and rightly deserves. Once again, thank you so much, ma'am. A warm welcome from me, Dr. Jaya Parekh, the principal of Ramratna International School, and the entire RRIS fraternity. Friends, today's session is going to be a conversation where I would be putting questions to ma'am and we would be listening to her answers and gaining from her wisdom. Before I begin, ma'am, would you like to address the gathering?
Yeah, thank you so much, Jaya, for this opportunity. I'm so happy to be amongst all of you. I see that there are people from Kolkata, a place rather very close to my heart because I lived in Jamshedpur for 38 years. So
Right.
Kolkata was, every other maybe every year at least 4 5 trips to Kolkata. So I'm so happy that neighbors are there and so many friends. Thank you for this opportunity, uh, Jaya.
Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am, you're right. We have such amazing patrons, especially from the BDM International School, Kolkata. So warm welcome to
Okay.
you too. And we would also be having a lot of participants from Kerala Public Schools, I believe. So a warm welcome to each one of you from various schools across the country.
Good afternoon,
I
ma'am.
request, good afternoon. I request everyone to kindly be on mute. And if you have any thoughts to share, please write in the chat box. We are about to begin with the questions that I'm going to put to Vijayam ma'am. So before I begin, please remember, act as if what you do makes a difference. It does. And I have seen ma'am doing that. And seeing her made me believe that it is true. You can make a difference. So I would now like to put my very first question to ma'am. Ma'am, in my knowledge, you had joined your professional journey as a school librarian. I would like to know how this journey took you from being a librarian to the school principal and later a trustee of schools. Please throw some light on that. How has been this journey and how did it happen?
So, thank you so much, Jaya, once again. I feel very happy to share my story, not because it's a very remarkable story, because I believe that any ordinary person can do some extraordinary things. I haven't done much extraordinary things, but then I could, I always considered myself as a shy, timid person who can't do much. But when I look back, I see I have done something. And secondly, I feel people who are listening to me, many of you must be thinking, oh, how can I get a promotion? I can't, go beyond this. For that you need to, be in the good books of the management or the principal. Then only I can get a promotion. Only the chamchas get promoted. We don't get promoted. All such norms are there in many institutions. So I want to prove that no, even now, every time, any generation, I feel values matter. Your integrity, your transparency, your hard work, your dedication will definitely bear fruit. So my life started when if I want, I would love to share my journey a little bit. I got married at the age of 19 and a half. I was just a graduate. I did all my studies after I became a mother of two. Again, this is being shared for youngsters who feel, oh, now life is gone, what can we do? I started my studies after my BA, I think when I was 31 with my BEd, and then I went on to do MA, MEd, and MPhil. So I always loved books. I wanted to be a teacher all the time, but then I did not have a BEd degree. So I went on to join a school as a librarian. Okay. So, and I loved the job because I loved books. I thought I can read a lot of books. So I became a
Right.
librarian. But after a year or after 3 4 years, I said no. Again, I wanted to be the teacher. That this thing started coming up. So I went and joined a BEd college. I did my BEd. I went to a school which is run by the local Kerala Samajam. I belong to Kerala for practice teaching. So they loved my classes. So we were a group of 10 to 13 of us, but then they requested me to join immediately that school. So my previous school where I was the librarian, it was the Chinmaya Mission School supported by the Tata, telco, that industry. So they did not want me to leave, but then there is a again story behind it. So I said for my children's sake, I decided to join that school. So after my BEd, I joined there as a teacher. And then within 2 years, there was a vacancy for an assistant to the principal. So I joined, I got that post. Then all of a sudden, the principal and vice principal resigned from the school because they were such amazing people, both of them, but they had a small misunderstanding with the management, and both of them resigned together. So one fine morning, the most experienced teacher became the principal of the school, and I was promoted as a vice principal. And another 2 years, my principal's husband got a transfer to Bangalore. She had to leave. And the school advertised for a better principal they couldn't get because they were not paying very well. So I became a principal by chance. And when I was there as a principal, a request came from a neighborhood requesting us to start a school. So we started our first school in a rented building. We means our late chairman, Mr. A.P.R. Nair, and his wife, and my husband and myself. 4 of us were the trustees. So we started one school, which went on to become 9 schools. Then I became a trustee, director, vice chairperson, etc. That was my journey till 2018 when I resigned from all those responsibilities, and I am presently in Pune.
It's wonderful, ma'am. Wonderful to hear your journey. And you have put it very humbly and simply. But I know it's not just anybody who would get promoted to the vice principal's position or to the principal's position or would be taken as the board member, as a director or vice chairman or vice chairperson. There is a lot which I think we can simply understand without ma'am putting it into words. Because I have always seen she's very humble. She won't say what all she did, which made her move from one position to another. But yes, ma'am, your journey has been inspiring. It gives hope to everyone, every person who gets into a profession late in life, or maybe after marriage, after becoming a parent, and even after not imagining that one can achieve a position that one started with in the beginning. So thank you so much for being that beacon of inspiration for everyone, including myself. Next, I would like to say that this kind of progress in the direction of your choice, that is education, like you said, you wanted to be a teacher. So this was your choice. And such a great progress that you have done, where you have made a name for yourself. People know Miss Vijayam as an institution herself. Such a progress happens only when one is passionate for it. How do you see passion fueling your journey? What role did your passion play in your life, in your professional life? If you could share some examples of how passion has fueled this journey.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jaya. You can't grow so quickly in succession unless you have a fire in your belly. I
True.
had that sort of passion and I had compassion. I think passion and compassion together makes a formidable force. I feel I have now when I look back, I feel when I was the librarian, I have this, I always wanted to excel in whatever I do. When I was a librarian, I wanted to be the world's best librarian. I did not know what librarians in the whole world looked like. I did not know, no internet, nothing of those days. I'm talking about the year 1981. How many years back? So, but I had that this thing that I should be the best. So when you want to be the best, you start thinking, what should I do differently? So as a librarian, I did many things which normal in a normal course of action, no librarian does. For example, I started identifying the children who are interested in reading books. I will see their interest and I will suggest books for them. I will keep books for some particular children because I know they they love to read such books. So I try to inculcate that love of reading. Then there used to be a lot of magazines and half a dozen newspapers which came to the library. So I will cut all relevant articles from the newspapers and I will put it under different files. Science, history, geography, inspiring stories.
Excuse me, ma'am.
And
Participants, I request you to put yourselves on mute. Participants, please put yourselves on mute. And I request our admin to ensure that we are able to put them on mute from our end. Sorry for this interruption, ma'am. Please continue.
So then I used to share it with my teachers. I used to keep it in a file, and I used to request the teachers, please put it on the bulletin board so that the children can read the latest news from in the from the world of science and so on. Then any good programs coming up. So I did all those things out of my interest to the even now, even after so many years, 81 and now 2020, even now the principal, my ex-colleagues, they keep saying we never had a librarian like you in our school. So that was the sort of passion which I had. So when I went to the school to do my practice teaching, so it was practice teaching, and but I wanted to be the best teacher. So naturally the teachers who were supervising my classes, they liked it. They went and reported to the principal, and the vice principal came to see my class. Then they said, okay, she's good, why don't you join this school? And the salary was one third of what I was getting in Chinmaya Mission School, one third, and this school was not even recognized. So but then my husband and I discussed. We thought if I join this school, I would benefit time-wise. My children, I will be able to spend more time with my children. I can get home along with my children. So I decided to leave my job in Chinmaya Mission School and leave this Kerala Samajam Model School, which was not even recognized at that point of time. They were trying for affiliation to ICSE board. Everyone called me a fool, but later the same people said, what a wonderful decision you took. So again, I would like to tell you, when we took that decision, money was not the concern. What was the concern? The concern was my children will get more time. I will get more time with my children. Another reason why I accepted was, the principal told me something. Later I used to tell her, ma'am, you emotionally blackmailed into this school. She told me, Vijayam, that school will get a better librarian or a better teacher, but our school, with this pay scale, we can't get good teachers, and you are a Malayali, you should serve this institution. So I thought, and that school was really like an upcoming school, and the children were from the lowest strata of society. They needed real help, whereas in the Chinmaya Mission School, they were from the employees' children, a better class of students. I thought. So I decided to accept this job, and I joined the school. So when I was resigning from the school, my principal refused to release me. He said, for the first time, he has never refused resignation from anyone. He said, I won't accept your resignation. You can't go like that. So then I explained to him. He was an amazing leader. I had learned so much from him. He was a retired military army person. So I explained to him, sir, it's only because of my children. Because when I was doing my B.Ed, I had told him, sir, I will be the last person to leave Chinmaya Mission, and I was the first person to leave. But look at that, when I was leaving, I told him, I requested him for an experience letter. His answer was, prepare a letter, put as many adjectives as you want, I will sign it for you. So I said, I don't want such a letter, sir. I want a letter written by you. And that letter I cherish even now. It's a one-page document which ends in, she will be an asset to any institution she joins. So how passion pays. Your hard work is noticed by people. You can't, like when you waste your time in competing and complaining, there is a problem. I never competed. I never complained. I always looked at the good things of life. So I came to this school. And again, when I was in the school, I first time I became the teacher, and I was very sure my job as a teacher is to teach, nothing beyond that. Teaching is my job. Children, how children learn, that is the parents' job. I was 200% sure. So I worked very hard, and at that end of the year, when my children, 18 of them were failing, I was furious at my parents. I said, let them come. I want to just give them a lecture. What do they think? The school will teach your children. You have to teach your children. I can only, you have to ensure that they learn. I can teach only. But all these 18 children, when they walked into my room, every child, every parent had a story. And I think that day became a real teacher. I realized what is my role as a teacher. I realized it's not my role is not to just teach English history and EVS, my job is to ensure that my children, have a good emotional social life. They grow up as happy, compassionate, and socially responsible human beings. So that end of the year, I went to my principal requesting her to give me the same class next year. She was surprised. She told me, like, teachers said, we don't want the same class. We are bored. And you are the first one to ask for the same class. So I told her, ma'am, now I know my children. There were 52 of them. I told, now I know the background of every child. Now I know what they expect from me. I will get one more year to work with them. So she happily agreed. I went with the class for one more year, and we were such a fantastic class. My vice principal used to say, 52 of your children, even the day I was absent, my children will keep quiet. They don't need a substitute teacher. So my vice principal asked me one day, Vijayam, how do you manage it? How can you sit at home and ensure that your children are keeping quiet? I said, it's very simple. I emotionally blackmail them. I keep telling them, I love you so much. Don't you love me? Don't you want your teacher to get a good name? And my children always bought it. And then the next year again, I said, one more year, ma'am, third year. But by the middle of the year, I got a promotion to the assistant to the principal. Maybe because they saw my passion, the way I was working with every child to ensure that the children are, improving. So, and then there is something called luck, I feel, or I can say it the other way. When you are passionate and you are compassionate and you are honest and and you are doing your job with absolute love and sincerity, whatever happens, I call it luck. So they advertised for an assistant to the principal, and the day my chairman came and advertised in the staff room, some voice told me that job is for me. And we were two people who had applied, and the other person was smarter than me. The principal actually liked her better than me because she was senior to me. But what happened was her husband was in a transferable job, and they preferred a person with a graduation in English. So I got it. Look at it, it's all chances also. My life has taught me this, when you are passionate about something, people and opportunities present themselves in your life. I repeat, when you are passionate about what you are doing, when you have a strong dream, people and opportunities present themselves. So I became the assistant to the principal. Then, as I told you, the principal and vice principal left the school. All of a sudden, they had to promote me as the vice principal. And when the principal left, they advertised in the newspapers because I was 37. I did not have much experience. So I did not even apply for the principal's post. So one day my chairman walked into my room and said, you haven't applied for the post. So I said, sir, because I think the school needed a better person. I am very inexperienced. I am 37 and the school has just got affiliation. It's coming up. So I think we should go for a better principal, I said. So imagine, like I just said, it was an honest answer. I never expected him to ask me that question. The answer just came out. He told me something. He said, you are not ambitious, he told me. So I told him, sir, I am ambitious in a very different way. I still don't know who put those words into my mouth. I see it in my life every time. I'm sure most of us have experienced it. Sometimes words just come out through your mouth. I told him, sir, I am ambitious in a very different way. If I am good in my work, opportunities will come my way, I said. So the interview took place, but then they couldn't get a better principal. So they found that by the time 6 months have passed, and they found that I was doing a great job according to them. So I was promoted as the principal. And then when we started this trust, Kerala Public School Trust, our chairman, I was not the first choice for our chairman to be the trustee. Sir had a friend whom he wanted to be part of his trust. He had invited him to become partner. So that person did not believe in sir. Like he believed in sir, he never felt that the schools will come up so, beautifully. So he said he is not interested. So he asked me whether I am interested. I said I was always interested because I was interested. I've always wanted to, this was like many of us. I've always dreamt of a magic wand to, change the world. I'm sure most of us dream for it. Wish I had a magic wand to, change the world. At least if I can't change the world, can I change the small world where, I belong to? So this dream, this was always there with me. So I immediately accepted it, and we started as one school on a rented building. Now we have got 9 schools, and we have got 4 project schools which run absolutely free for slum children, catering to around 4,000, 3,500 children. And we have got a daycare center, all gifted by people. Not we have gone and because we were doing a good job. Tata Steel gave us 2 schools. National Meteorological Laboratory gave us 1 school, and 2 tribal schools. I would like to end by sharing this story, how these 2 tribal schools came at our way. I've always wanted, I was a typical village girl those days. I wanted to live in a village. I wanted to transform villages. So I always wanted to work in villages. So we used to go into the villages. We had some rural school adoption program. We had adopted some village, and we were doing some work in the villages. Tree plantation, organic farming, self-help groups. All this work I was doing. So we used to pass by a school. It was almost dilapidated condition. So I asked my project assistant, "What is it?" So he said, "It's a school for primitive, tribe children." So I said, "Let's go inside and see." When we went inside, we saw there were 5 students and 3 teachers in the school. So we asked, "Where are the children?" So they said there are 60 children. Some of them have gone to bath, bathe in the river. Some of them have gone to their home and all those things. So later we came to know their students were in the register. The school was, it is a typical story in many of the villages. There'll be names in the any government, many government schools. So now things are changing. So the names are there in the register. There will be 5, 6 children, and the government will give them the money. That money will be distributed. So I told my project assistant, one day I want to run this school. So he laughed at me, "Ma'am, it can never happen. It's a government school. How can you run it?" I said, "I don't know. One day I want to run this school. I want to show how we can run a school with this sort of money." You won't believe, one day I'm standing next to my office assistant, and the Hindi newspaper is there. I don't read Hindi very much. I can read slowly. I was just flipping the pages, and as if somebody has shown me, look here. I can still vividly remember that moment. Like, it's in a big newspaper. There are so many things. It's a small advertisement. Welfare department is outsourcing schools. And I look at it and I say, yeah. So we applied and we run that school since I think the year 2003 or 4. Imagine how, when you have a powerful dream, we have a passion, how opportunities and people come your way. So it was up to 5. Then I used to tell my chairman, we should have a school which goes up to +2. Yeah, another day, another newspaper, another advertisement, we apply and we get it. So we have 2 tribal schools. One is running from 1 to 6 and 1 to 5. The other one is from 6 to 12. Completely funded by the school. We only administer. So my life has taught me, because of that passion, people have presented themselves in my life. Opportunities have just come. I have 101 stories. One day, one district collector calls me up, and so I thought she must have called me. By the time the schools had become very famous, there was this thing for admissions. So I thought she must have called me for admission. I did not go. Then 3 times, then I went to her. So she spoke to me and all. Then she told me, I want to give you some grant to the self-help groups you are working with. It's absolutely without 100% subsidy. Every group will get 25,000, absolutely free. But before giving it, I wanted to see what sort of a person you are, because many people run NGOs to make money. So I want to ensure what is your intention. Imagine, that lady did not know me. She invited me to her room, to her office and gave that money did not come to me. For the first time in my life, I went with these village ladies to a block office to get that money there. So when you have a passion, I tell you, my dear friends, so I think as teachers, our job is to find what is my passion. Our job is to help our children to understand what is their passion. And each one of us is born with a passion. I am 100% sure. Thank you. It was a long answer, Jaya.
Thank you, ma'am. There was so much.
Can I see Ma'am Devika Nadik here? Thank you so much for your presence. I feel very honored with your presence here. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
Devika ma'am, welcome. Namaste.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure to have you. So, Vijaya ma'am,
Yeah.
everything that you have said, I think 90% of it can be called as the most wonderful quotes for teachers that they can follow in their life.
Oh,
Everything you said is like a quote, which
oh
we should
wow.
try to implement in life. I truly mean it. Friends, as ma'am started this answer saying that passion becomes meaningful when it is coupled with compassion. And you could see it in her answer, whether it was uh, the desire to stay with her children as a class teacher for 2 years, 3 years, or it is the ability to relate to the parents and their situation and understanding that as a teacher, her job is not just to expect the parents to participate, but to give her best, not only to the children, but to the parents. There are so many such instances that ma'am shared where we can see indirectly it's all about compassion. If I have truly understood to my abilities the meaning of the word compassion, honestly, it is through ma'am. If you all if you all have my phone number and if you see the status of my phone, it is also an inspiration from ma'am. If my friends know it, please type it. What is the status on my WhatsApp? So, ma'am, whether it is, you have said that it is destiny and, things happened and it is by chance, but we are all could see, and I'm so happy that the right things came your way and you had your eyes and ears open and you welcomed those opportunities. Running those schools free of cost, doing it for the children, the underprivileged, it is something which shows the way to teachers and educators like me and all of us here. Specifically, if there are any particular stories of compassion, anything which you did not share in the previous question, if anything specific you would like to speak about compassion and how can a teacher bring in that compassion, what role compassion plays in the life of a teacher, and those examples from your personal life, if you could share, that also would be wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, there are 101 stories of compassion. See, I was the principal only from 1991 to 2000. 2000, I resigned. I started at 37. At the age of 47, when life starts for a leader, I resigned and I went on to become the director of. By the time we had 5 schools, so I became a full-time trustee come director for our own schools. There are 101 stories. See, 20, and then now this is 2020, how 20 years and 25, 27 years, 30 years, children who were my students still reach out to me. This pandemic, you won't believe, at least a dozen of my ex-students have connected with me only during the pandemic. And the way they talk to me, ma'am, take care of yourself. I was laughing, reading it out to my husband. Take care of yourself. We want you. So we want you to be there for us. And then there was this child who called me up from Patna. Ma'am, I know both of you stay alone in Pune. Do anytime you need any help, let me know. I have friends in Pune. I will get them in touch with you. So you need not worry. So many of them just called up to say, how are you, ma'am? You should take care. Some doctors, ma'am, what you should be doing. Like so many beautiful examples. Another recent story which I love to share, some of you must have already heard it, was I get a call from an ex-student around 3 years back, and he introduces himself, and I haven't seen him, I haven't talked to him since he passed out in 94, 95 or something. So I haven't even heard about him. He introduces himself and he talks to me, and then he tells me, I asked him where he is. He's in Dubai and he has got two children. And at the end of it, he says, I am my second born child. Ma'am, please suggest a name for my son. So I said, I did not think much. I said, he is being very nice to me. I said, yes, Rajesh, I will tell you. Let me think. And I put the phone down. After a week, the phone came again. Ma'am, gentle reminder, the name for my child. So I said, just tell me, your parents are there, your in-laws are there, you people are there. So I think it's your prerogative to name the child. And in our case, we have 4 grandchildren. When our children asked us to name the grandchildren, we told them very clearly, we named our children, we are not going to name our grandchildren. It is your job. So then Ajay says, no, ma'am, but you have to. So I said, what is the reason? He says, I studied in 3 or 4 schools. I don't know many of my teachers. I don't even remember my principals, but I know you. I remember you. And so I want you to give, he was not very vocal, but this much. So I told him, but Ajesh, I was a very strict principal. I used to beat up children. I'm so sorry. I have done it all, because those days it was like they were like our children, beating up, shaking them up, shouting at them, and the next moment going and hugging them, saying sorry to them. All these things used to be my day-to-day affair. So I said, I used to get angry on you. I used to shout at you. Then how can you say it? So he said, ma'am, because of that, we did well in our school, because we were not very scared of our parents. We were only scared of you. So we studied and we are whatever we are today. It's because of you. So there is a child in this world who bears a name bestowed by his father's principle. Imagine. So, so many such beautiful stories I have, so many. And then even parents, there was this one parent who was such a problem for every teacher, for me. Every time he will come and pick up fights, he will, argue with people all the time. And he always behaved as if we were sitting there to make money. One day I was so fed up, I invited him to my room for a dialogue. I made him sit and I asked him half a dozen questions. I said, what is, by the way, our school fee structure even now is one of the lowest in the town, even now. So I said, how much you are paying? Have you paid any donation to take admission? Many questions, and what we are doing. We had I won't go into the details. We had a long discussion. At the end of it, he became a great fan of mine. And even after his children left the school, he still kept in touch with me. Even like many, I think almost 6-7 years back also, he had called me up. So this relationship, even for my teachers, I resigned in 2000. Even now, many of my teachers keep in touch with me. I think 3 years back on May 1st, I love to share this story. It was May 1st at 9:30, 9 o'clock in the night. I get a phone call from one of my ex-colleagues. Ma'am, today was 1st May. And all these DDs and, support staff, they were, they were on it on May 1st. So they went up on the stage and everyone spoke about you. So imagine 20 years later, what? So I'm not saying that it's because of me. I think it was mutual. They were so nice to me, so I was nice to them. We had a great bond, and I knew, what they were going through. I was always there to listen to them. So small things make a difference. Fun story, just now it comes to my mind. One day my peon walks into my room, and it's a big school, 3,400 children. Every day 15 14 teachers will be absent, and he has to go around with the substitution. Those days no intercom and all. So he comes to my room and he says, ma'am, थक गए, सुबह से ऊपर नीचे हो रहा है ये substitution को लेकर. And then there will be some important, like announcements, some important notices which I have to send. See, till that time, I did not think much about it. That day, I realized, my goodness, this person running up and down, I never thought about it. So that became a source for one of our, decisions in our school. we came out with a decision that no more circulars will be circulated during the school time. The teachers have to go to the staff room and look at the notice board when they come before they leave the school to see that whether there are any important notices. Unless it is something very urgent, no pune will come to your classroom. So that decision was taken. We appointed 2 substitute teachers, like who will take care of the, a substitution to a great extent. The morning first period substitution will be distributed in the assembly only to the teachers, so that my pune need not, my punes need not, do so much of hard work. So see, compassion. For me, there is no other. Let me put it that way. I think who has said it? I think Khalil Gibran, who has said it. There is no other. So for me, there is no other. I can always see myself in every person. So maybe that made my life more enjoyable for me. Thank you. Did I answer your question, Jaya?
Oh, yes, 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 ma'am. And I know that there would be endless stories. And you yourself are a personification of compassion. Like ma'am said, it actually is true that there is no other way for her. She has lived it. This could sound a little personal, but I would still like you to know, because this is something which I authentically experienced with ma'am. This last 8 to 10 days, I have not been keeping well. And you would not believe, sitting in Pune, ma'am has been spending 1 hour every day dedicatedly to send the healing energy by practicing Reiki or chanting for me. I think there can be nothing that can be done to repay the love and compassion. I mean, I think people could see my eyes wet, but it is all because of the power. It's the power of compassion and love that one can have. And I can simply just imagine how your children and parents who have been with you all these years have been touched with that magic wand that you have been talking about. You really have it with you, man.
I should share something, but don't think that I was so compared. You see, there is an other side of every one of us. No, we have our own gray areas. There may be so many teachers and so many children who must be still hating me. I won't doubt about it, because you can't please everyone at all times.
Agree.
But I can vouch for myself that no action stemmed out of anger or resentment or jealousy from me. Whatever I did out of compassion. Even when I punish, I did out of compassion. Many times people won't able to understand. That is another side. Okay,
So,
carry on. Yeah.
like like ma'am said, it will come out in various forms. Compassion does not mean it will always be very soothing. It will always be in a soft voice. It will be with a smile. It has to emerge from that wish to make a positive difference. It can be seen in various forms. Thank you for further clarifying it, ma'am. And it is so true. You cannot please everyone, but one has to be mindful of one's action. That is the only thing in our control.
Correct.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Correct.
And I think the intentions have tremendous power. So if we do it with the right intention, it definitely impacts in the right way. So moving on with our interesting conversation, and just calling it a conversation is not enough. In this wisdom that we are receiving from ma'am, continuing with it, I would like to know, ma'am, at that time, so many years ago, with so many schools that you were handling, with thousands of children under your wings, making your schools become one of the most coveted schools in the city of Jamshedpur, and you becoming a principal who herself has become an institution. What were some of the prominent innovations or creative implementations that you would like to bring it out for us today? The stories of creativity that made your schools and you stand out.
Yeah. Thank you, Jaya. As we are talking, people who are listening to us, I request you, if you have got any questions, please put it on this thing, because in the chat box, because I'm just sharing some things. You may be thinking, how can this happen? So you can put your questions there. So coming back to you, Jaya, intention. You talked about intention. Yeah, thank you for bringing it out. Intention matters. I think I should have said that. See, God put that word onto you, into your mouth instead of me. So
I'm your
whatever you
student,
are
ma'am.
doing, yeah, okay.
I'm your student.
Whatever you are doing, the intention matters. Are you doing to get popularity, to get name and fame, or you are doing it out of sheer happiness? You want to make a difference. What is it? I am not saying that fame and name doesn't, it is not accept, or it should not be coveted. You can covet, but that should not become your end motive. But even if I sometimes tell people, even if it is your motive, go and do it, so that once you start doing it, you will start enjoying it so much that name and fame will not matter. What you do, that gives you happiness. Like Jaya was saying, I was giving her Reiki because it gives me happiness. I have four more friends who are not keeping very well, so all five of them, I said, what can I do sitting at home? I can do only this much. So this gives me a lot of happiness. So that intention mattered. So what did we do? What did I do? I'm talking about the 90s. Whatever I'm going to share, you may say, oh, these are such simple things. But in the 90s, when things were not very simple, we had many challenges, big classrooms. We had 55, 58, 60. Were classes with 65 children also, and students came initially from the lower strata of the society. And please mark my words, I don't mean that we can't give education to them. I feel they are the people who want maximum education, and our chairman started the schools for them with this motto, quality education at an affordable cost. That was the motto coined by our late chairman, Mr. APR Nair, because he believed that good education should be given to them. But then it comes with its own problems also. The parents are not educated, so you have to educate the parents first to educate the children. Then low salary, fees was very low, and many parents could not pay. So naturally, salary was low. So the teachers also not very happy. So and we had a very small campus. I am talking about my principalship at this point of time. So we had many challenges. I had to ensure that my children lacked self-esteem, lacked confidence. When they compare themselves with other English medium schools, they were not up to the mark. So I had to build their self-esteem. I had to build their self-confidence. I had to ensure that they have a good character, social responsibility, compassion. They are good in academics. And we couldn't spend money on trainings all those days. So what could we do? So I will just mention only very important best practices which helped us to get a lot of dividends. For example, to improve academic excellence, what did we do? The first thing we did was the same teacher going with the class for 3 years. People may object, they may say, so if it's a bad teacher, it will affect the whole the 3 years the children will be impacted. I say no, it will be easy for you to identify the weak link. It will be easy for you to identify which teachers are lagging behind, and you can work with those teachers. And most of the teachers, my experience says, 99% of the teachers improve with the right input. There will be 1% of 1 or 2 teachers who won't show any improvement. We can't help it. But otherwise, I have experienced they improve. We improve, they also improve. So that was one thing. Because what happened, I love to tell this story again. Normally for the promotion meetings, teachers will say, ma'am, please don't promote this child. He's not fit for the next class. He's very weak. The moment we introduced these 3 years, my class teacher started requesting me, ma'am, please promote this child. I will be with him for 2 more years. Let me work with him for 2 more years. Then we can detain him. See the compassion. See how the culture of the school changed. I feel this one experiment practice changed the culture of the school. Teachers became attached to the students. Students became attached to the teachers. Same with the parents. Parents started respecting the teachers. Well, they knew each other better. I think that was the thing which made our school like a family. We used to call it's a home away from home. That was one thing. Second thing which we started was a peer help. I saw that many of my students were not doing well, and 55, 60 students, 40 minutes, 35 minutes, what a teacher can do. So one fine morning in the assembly, I asked, how many students are interested to help your friends? So many students volunteered, and it was a very, not a very stringent some procedure or something. It was very, easy to follow instructions. So the children were asked to we did not allocate the children who will help whom. The students had the liberty to decide from whom they need the help. After their first time exam, when the children after the exams, I asked in this assembly, how many of you improved with peer help? Many hands went up. I told them to come on to the stage. I couldn't hear every one of them, but at least 10 to 12 pairs we could hear. Every child said the same thing. I was very weak in math, English, whatever. My friend helped me, and my friend always said, "No, ma'am, he was very hardworking. I did not do much." So I realized that my children learned again how to appreciate, to be compassionate, how to communicate. It had multiple, intangible benefits other than improving the sick. So that has continued. Even now, it continues. And we have every year, every time we will take one lesson from every subject, which is the easiest one, and we will ask the children to teach that lesson to the class, standard 5 and above. So, and it should be team teaching. 5 children have to come together, pick up a lesson, the easiest lesson, and they have to teach the entire class. It started when 94 to 95 I am talking about. All these things help the children to improve their studies. These are, I'm just talking about things. Then one more thing was, when will the peer help happen? So we have a supervised study period. Last period, standard 1 to standard 8, they used to have one last period where the children can sit with them. Anybody sit and both study, others can complete their homework, etc. Then the second thing was how to develop the child's personality. So we had an activity period once in a week, and we had competitions at quarter-final, semi-final, and final level. Normally in schools, the children appear for two to competitions. Here, every child has to practice minimum 4. So it became, their second nature to come up on the stage. And I'm so proud of what we did. Next was, we had 26 hobbies. Now NEP is talking about vocational education. We had it at that point of time, 93 onwards, even now. 26 hobbies included cutting and tailoring to dance, drama, music, instrumental music, dramatics, debate, you name it, everything was there. And at that time, I had offered them 5 to 10, they could get a 5-year diploma, but parents were not interested. But 4 of my children got a diploma side by side with standard 10. By the time they passed standard 10, 2 girls had a diploma in dance, 2 boys had a diploma in instrumental music, that is tabla. And one of them joined as a dance teacher in our school. So, and now they are talking, and then we used to have an exhibition come sale where children used to sell their whatever, cutting and tailoring club, craft club, they painting club, they used to put it for sale, and parents used to buy it happily. And then we used to have bagless days. This 3 days exhibition will be in the school, not at home. They have to sit in the school and do it, otherwise parents will do it. Then the 3 days youth festival, no bags, then sports day as usual. So all these things we had done so that the children become so smart and confident. I think these were some of those things. And another thing was, after every period, students were supposed to stand up and speak a few affirmations. Whatever the sentence which starts with "I am" are very powerful. So after every period, my students stood up and said, "I am confident, I am happy, I am loving, I am lovable." And this 6 times they repeated, followed by meditation. Now mindfulness is a big word, buzzword, but those days hardly anyone talked about mindfulness. That was another thing which we did. And then community services, we were into community services neck deep, right from adopting a village there, or even in the school campus, organic farming, vermicomposting, water harvesting, all these things we did. Tree plantation, we worked with the district forest officials, we did, worked with the environment ministry, SIDBI. We worked with a lot of, even the local industries like Tata Steel and all, for the adult literacy classes. National School of Blind, you name it, we did all. And the children had we never compelled them. Children had that freedom to select what they wanted to do. We had annual blood donation camps in the school for cancer patients. So the idea was that my children should be exposed to all sorts of experiences so that they grow up as compassionate and socially responsible. And many students have told me later, ma'am, all these things had a very positive influence. And I'm very proud to say we started in 1995 a practice called invigilation-less exams, which are still continuing. Even now, 60-65% of the children sit for exams without invigilation in our schools. At least in our main school and even Kerala public schools, I don't know what is the percentage, but it's happening even now. And our afternoon project schools where we have 5 with the main school, so we have got around 4,000, 5,000 students studying absolutely free. So these were some of the things, and I feel very happy. Like one of the schools, the first water harvesting happened in one of our schools, and within 3-4 months, our well used to go dry. So I used to wonder where the water goes. So I sent our people to the neighborhood, and to our pleasant surprise, we realized once we started our water harvesting system, our neighborhood wells became, had water, their water scarcity stopped. It was such a, otherwise they had to walk to the riverfront to get water. That was one thing very beautiful. And our schools, the thing is shared in a book which has been brought out by Center for Science and Environment, this experiment. So these were some of those things which we did in the 90s. Vermicomposting and organic farming. Now it is very important in our schools. We used to grow vegetables and all those things. So I can go on and on. So these are some of the main things which we did.
This is just like unbelievable. I would like everyone to be on mute, please. This was like, ma'am, something unbelievable. You're talking about these innovations 20 years back, 30 years back. I know these have become a common place now. Like you said, these are the buzzwords today's time. I have also been inspired, and in some little own humble ways, to a very little extent, we have also implemented these ideas, which I have learned from you. But to come up with these ideas originally, only a great thinker whose vision is fueled by compassion, innovation, and creativity can come up with these ideas. So thanks to you for being that powerhouse and the lighthouse who is showing the path to everyone else to follow and making it easier for them to walk on that path. You have really been ahead of your times, ma'am, I would say. In today's time, people very proudly talk of, running vermicomposting in school and organic farming, or we have adopted a village, or our students make and sell things, or we are having invigilator-less examinations. I think this is like the moon reflecting the light of the sun. And we know the ultimate source of energy is the sun. So you are the sun personally for me, ma'am. And I won't go on and on about it. I know you won't appreciate that. But then thank you for sharing this, because we don't know who all are getting inspired by it today. And it is so important for teachers to get inspired. It's easy for teachers to get into the trap of feeling that it is no longer a noble job. It is not something which is treated with a lot of respect and dignity these days.
Yeah.
Teachers do not feel that sense of nobility when they think of the profession of teaching. So I would just like to ask you, with this kind of a mentality in the society today, where the best of the people don't want to get into education. By best, I mean those who have the caliber to become excellent teachers, they don't want to get into teaching. So what the teachers, those who are already in this profession, what would you like to tell them? Why? What should motivate them? What is the real reward of being a teacher?
See, I feel I keep telling, requesting teachers 2 questions you should ask yourself when a child is difficult, when you find that it's tough going. If it were my child, what would I do? If it were my child, this question I think will make a lot of difference, I feel. And I feel now we are here as teachers. I am mindful of time now, only 3 minutes left, so I'm getting a little sick. So I think many of us must have joined this profession not because of a passion, because it was the easiest job to get. So now what can we do? Now we are here, we can give our best to it. How can we give it? Read more, reflect more, and even if you don't read and reflect, keep listening to your children. The more you listen, I think you become a more caring and compassionate teacher. The more you listen to your parents, you will become more and more compassionate. So it's so important for to have that school parents partnership. Knowing your child, understanding your child is so important. And reading is very important. At least 5 to 10 minutes you should read every day. Listen to some good TED talks or some good speeches. And see, they say anything can be inculcated now. They say values can be also inculcated. So the best way to inculcate value is knowing your children, especially the toughest of them. Somebody has beautifully said the children who want the maximum attention, they will seek the attention is the most. The children who need love them more, they ask for it more, the most unloving ways. So find out, talk to those children, understand them, and you will see that you will become slowly, you will become compassionate. I became compassionate when I came to know about my children and their background. I think that is one thing I feel. Another thing we used to do is after +2, we used to ask our children, anybody wants to be a teacher, come and join our schools. So they used to come and join our schools, and they used to do their graduation, post-graduation. There are at least a dozen teachers in our schools who have grown like that. So they know our culture better. And I think, I don't think teaching, there can be any profession which can be as rewarding as a teacher's profession. I was traveling in the US, and in this metro, one girl comes running to me and touch my feet, and that ticket collector, he looks at it, hey, did you know each other? So my student very proudly tells, she was my principal in my school. And he was so interested to hear the story. How come? Where? How did you meet? So, wherever you go, you meet your children, they remember you. And what can give you more happiness when someone calls you up and say that, ma'am, whatever I am, it's because of you. I know it is their generosity. I'm not a fool to think that somebody has become whatever they are, it's because of me. It is their generosity that they are saying. But the fact remains that I must have touched their life. The cutest Teachers Day gift I got this time was one of my ex-students got his daughter to do a video wishing me happy Teachers Day and sent to me. Think of it, how, so somewhere I have touched them. We are all touching lives somewhere or other. So maybe let us fall in love with our children more and more. I think 31 now. I think
very well said, ma'am.
See, there are some questions. I think, Jay, I won't like to take more time from the participants.
Yes.
So if there are questions, I would like to see the chat. I couldn't see. And if there are some questions,
yes,
I can send a reply to them. Maybe I can send a personal reply to them.
So, ma'am, as such, there are no questions. People have written.
I saw one question. How can I?
One second, ma'am. Let me just check. People have appreciated.
Okay.
And have expressed gratitude. What? No, that's just a statement that you made. I don't see any questions, but anyways, participants.
How can I help children? Something I just passed by. So okay, it's okay.
Which one, ma'am? Please tell me.
No, how can I help my children? Somebody has written something. Can unmute and ask.
No,
maybe.
I think, ma'am, I had written that your own statement, which I wrote. What if this child was my own child? What would I do? As the guiding question.
No. There was one question asking how ma'am can how we can manage our children during the pandemic. I mean, like virtually, with the virtual classrooms, how to take care of them, how to bond with them virtually.
Yeah,
that is the question.
Oh yes,
I'll take 1 minute to answer
Yes,
it
ma'am.
and I will finish it. Srikala,
Please.
thank you, Srikala. So
Thank you,
my
Shrikala.
answer to this, it's the same thing. So every day you decide to connect to at least 3 to 5 children. Every day decide that in my class there are 40 children. These 3 children or 5 children I will connect out of the classroom situation. Call them up. On phone, talk to them, talk to their parents every day. Make a call to the child and the parents, make a connection and ask what are their problems, and all that connection will help. That is one thing you can do. And the children who don't attend your classes, definitely give a call and ask, don't you love me? You don't like me? Don't I teach well that you don't attend my classes? What is the problem? Please tell me. Can I teach better? Do you have any suggestions for me? And you just see most of them will say, no, 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 ma'am, you are so good. I will come to your class from next time. Children are so, they are uh, what do you say? They are always ready to listen to your love. They respond to your love. I wish I could speak more, but 33 I see. Then I am so. I think.
Ma'am, there is one more question.
Hmm.
What's your key word for the teachers of today?
I will say whatever be the question, what Jaya alluded to, and somebody had written there, whatever be
Yes,
the question, love and kindness. I will add kindness also there. Love and kindness is the answer. Whatever
wonderful,
be
ma'am.
the question, love and kindness be the answer. So
Thank you
may
so much.
all your actions spring from that space of love and kindness. Even if there is no love, from kindness. Imagine, and another thing I would like to share with you as a parting thought. Most of us, once we become teachers, we forget that once upon a time we were children. We become parents also. Once we become parents and teachers, we forget that we were also once upon a time children. We
Children.
went through the same agonies, we went through the same problems. But when our students go through the same problems and agonies, we don't understand, many of us, isn't it?
So
We have called teachers names, we have bunked classes, we must have not done homework. But the same thing, if our children do, what is our reaction? Are we compassionate? Do you think about, I have also done it, so let me be compassionate. I'm not saying condone it. Let me be compassionate. That is the way. So I think it's already 35. I think, thank you so much, Jaya. I enjoyed talking to you, my
Madam
thank
dear.
you very
Kartha,
much, ma'am.
Madam
Keep
Kartha,
inspiring.
this was a lesson in life.
Yes.
This was a lesson of life.
Oh, Dr.
How to live
Nandu.
life. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much. I
much.
learned so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I love talking to people. I think whatever I am, it's because of the whole universe. That is what this universe is, a universe of interconnectedness and interdependence. So we all need each other to go forward in life. And what else can we do? We can share information, we can share wisdom, right? We can share experiences. Let's all grow together and build a beautiful world for our children and the
Wow.
future.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That is a very good session.
Thank
Thank
That
you.
is
you.
Thank
And
very
you so
ma'am did not
much.
inspirational.
mention
Yes,
one of her favorite statements, that is teachers are nation builders.
Yes.
absolutely,
And we have taken
absolutely.
the world by
Thank you so
storm
much, ma'am.
with our creative
Yes,
and kind ways. So, on
yeah,
behalf of ma'am, I'm giving her quote to you. Teachers are
yes,
the nation builders, and that is the most
absolutely.
rewarding thing. So, thank you so
Yes.
much, ma'am. Once again, my pranams to you. Stay happy
Thank you
and
for,
healthy.
yeah,
Keep
yeah.
inspiring.
Thank you for being here, for spending 1 hour with me. Prema, are you Prema from Jamshedpur or Prema from some other school? Prema Nair, can you unmute and speak, Prema?
Miss Prema Nair, could you please unmute and speak?
Because I have a friend, a colleague, Prema, in my school in Jamshedpur. People say she looks like me. So because of so I just don't know whether she's the same. She is not able to unmute, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Just wanted you to know that we had reached our maximum limit of 250 people. I'm sure
Oh,
many could not get into this discussion. We'll make the
yeah.
recording available to them. Thank you
Okay.
for being an inspiration and a guiding force
Can
also.
I see the chat,
Yes,
Jaya? Will it be
yes,
possible?
ma'am.
So
Yeah,
share
yeah.
it with me.
So You can even go through the chat, ma'am. Meanwhile, we can ask the participants to now leave.
Okay. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So,
That's okay.
so thanks to
Thank you.
everyone. See you next Monday for the 30th
Okay,
Aadharshila
ma'am.
talk
Thank
at
you.
RRIS.